ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स पदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरा श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादं सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदनाय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरतिष्ये नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नष्टिकी। So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 48, text number 26, right? Ka panditastadapuram saranam samiyad भक्तो प्रियातरितो गिरो सुहृदो कृतज्ञा। सर्वान् ददाति सुहृदो भजतो अभिकामान्। आत्मानाम् अपि उपचया पचो न अस्य। Kapanditastadaparam saranam samiyad Bhakta priyadrita gira suhid kritagya Sarvan dadati suhida bhajata abhikaman Atmanam api upachaya pachayo na chasya Kapanditastad aparam saranam samiyad Bhakta priyadarita gira suhid kritagna Sarvan dadati suhida bhajata abhikaman Atmanam api upachaya pachayo na yasya Mataji's. Ka what? Panditaha, scholar. Tvat, other than you. Aparam, to another. Saranam, for shelter. Samiyat, would go. Bhakta, to your devotees. Priyat, affectionate. Rita, always true. Giraha, whose words? Surhida, the well-wisher. Kritagyat, grateful. Sarvan, all. Dadati, you give. Surhida, to your well-wishing devotees. Bhajataha, who are engaged in worshipping you. Obhikaman, desires. Atmanam, yourself. Api, even. Upachaya, increase. Apachayo, or diminution. Na, never. Yasya, whose. Translation and purport by the disciple of His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. What learned persons would approach anyone but you for shelter when you are the affectionate, grateful and truthful well-wisher of your devotees? To those who worship you in sincere friendship, you reared everything they desire, even your own self, yet you never increase or diminish. Purport. This verse describes both the Lord and His devotees as Srihida, well-wishers. The Lord is the well-wisher of His devotee, and the devotee lovingly desires all happiness for the Lord. Even in this world, an excess of love may sometimes produce unnecessary solicitude. For example, we often observe that a mother's loving concern for her adult child is not always justified by an actual danger to the child. A grown child may be wealthy, competent, and healthy, and yet the mother's loving concern continues. Similarly, a pure devotee always feels loving concern for Lord Krishna, as exemplified by Mother Jasoda, who could only think of Krishna as her beautiful son. Lord Krishna had promised Akrura that after killing Kangsha, he would visit his home, and now the Lord kept his promise. Akrura recognizes this and glorifies the Lord as Ritagiraha, one who is true to his word. The Lord is Kritagya, grateful for whatever little worship a devotee offers, and even if the devotee forgets, the Lord does not. Mukkam karati vachalam pangul langhaite giring jat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurung dinatarinam paramananda madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So the chapter is entitled Krishna Pleases His Devotees. It's a very, very significant title of the chapter, and that is very, very encouraging and inspiring for the devotees to engage in devotional service. Because devotees are engaged in pure devotional service to the Lord to please the Lord. In the same way, Lord is also very eager to please His devotees. So competition is going on between the Lord and His pure devotees. So this is very, very important principle. Pleasing the beloved, that is the principle of love. As devotees love Krishna, that's why devotees are always eager to please Krishna. And Lord also loves His devotees very much. That's why Lord is also very eager to please His devotees. Srila Prabhupada used to write, your ever well-wisher. Here, Suruhid has been translated as well-wisher. It is applicable both to the Lord and to the devotees. So who can be well-wisher? It is very, very important principle to understand. It is very, very difficult to get well-wisher in this material world. Why? Because Prabhupada says, and Shastra also says, that this world is the world of envy. And if the element of envy is there in the heart, it is not possible to be a well-wisher. Who can be a well-wisher? Whose heart is free from envy. That is the principle. So why Lord can be well-wisher? Because He is free from envy. And how a pure devotee can be a well-wisher? Because he is also free from envy. So in the spiritual world, there is no envy. So if we want to enter into the spiritual world, then we have to be free from envy. And that is our spiritual journey. Spiritual journey means to become free from envy. Srimad Bhagavatam also explains, who can enter into Srimad Bhagavatam? Nirmat Saranang Satam. Who is free from envy? And envy comes from what? Envy comes from pride. And pride comes from ignorance. So what is the meaning of ignorance? Ignorance means not understanding our position. Forgetfulness of our position is the symptom of ignorance. We always chant while taking prasadam, Sharire avidyajal. Our body, material body, is the network of ignorance. It's not network of knowledge. What is the meaning of knowledge? Knowledge means to know what is matter, what is spirit, and who is the controller of both. That is the real meaning of knowledge, the broad understanding of knowledge. But one element of that is that to understand who we are. That is very, very important principle. So when we understand who we are, then we are in knowledge. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Sanatana Goswami to answer this question. Sanatana Goswami asked Mahaprabhu, Ami ke? It's a very simple question, but very deep question. And our foundational principle is based on this understanding that who we are. So Mahaprabhu said, Jivera Swarup hoy Krishner Nityadas. Krishner Tathastha Shakti Vedaved Prakash. This is our position. Our position is that we are the servant of Krishna, not now, not in the past, eternal. Krishna is the eternal master, and the living entities are the eternal servants of that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. That is called knowledge. And when we act on that platform of knowledge, then gradually we can become free from envy. So cultivation of service attitude, acting on the platform of that knowledge that we are the servants, that will lead us to the platform of freedom from envy. Otherwise, it is very, very easy and it is very, very natural for the conditioned soul to become envious of each other. It's very common because that is the nature of this world. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, Paro dukhe sukhi. So when we see something opposite, means if someone is suffering, then we feel happy. So the nature of this world is that we are not happy what we have, rather we are frustrated what we don't have. We are not grateful. Another comment has been made in the purport that Lord is very, very grateful. It is said if we are not grateful, then we are grateful. We have to be grateful. Few days back, someone was asking me, what Krishna does for us? A new person. And I said, what Krishna does not do for you? He does everything. Then I explained, you are breathing. Who is supplying the air? You are drinking water. You are eating food. Everything what you need for your survival is provided by Krishna. And what we are doing to Krishna? So much abuse conditioned soul do for the Supreme Lord, right? So much abusive language. Still Krishna is merciful. Shishupal, when he was not able to talk, from that time only he was giving gali to Krishna. Abusive language. But Krishna is not affected by that. Why Krishna is not affected by that? Because Krishna is free from envy. But the conditioned life is that if someone says something, then what comes into our mind? What comes to our mind? Revenge. We think अभी मेरा टाइम नहीं है फेवरेबल, बाद में जब मेरा टाइम आएगा मैं भी देख लूंगा. That naturally comes. So that is the nature of the conditioned mind. So purity of the heart is very, very important principle in Krishna consciousness. Changing the heart, changing within. So Lord is the real well-wisher. Bhuktarang jagatavasang sarvaloka maheshwaram suhidang sarvabhutanam gyattamang santramichati. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he is the well-wishing friend. Mahaprabhu is also telling, Ami bina bandhu ar ki ache tomar. We have to understand that who can be friend? Who is free from envy. Very rare in this world. So to get a well-wisher is the greatest fortune in our life. So we are really fortunate that we have got a well-wisher like Srila Prabhupada. We have got the well-wisher like Sriman Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. So we are very, very fortunate that we are having well-wishing devotees in our life. Because well-wisher is very, very important in our life. If we don't have well-wisher, then it is very difficult to have successful spiritual journey. And if we don't have well-wisher in our life, we are very unfortunate. And here it is explained by Akrura that we should take shelter of Krishna. That is a symptom of intelligence. Because only Krishna can give shelter. And he can give protection. It is explained also, Krishna promises in Bhagavad Gita, Name Bhakta Panasyati. Ananyas Chintayan Tamang Jejana Parjupasate Tesham Nityaviktanang Jagakhyamam Vahamaham. Those who are constantly engaged in pure devotional service, Krishna says, I preserve what they have and I provide what they lack. That is a promise given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna declares boldly in Bhagavad Gita that my devotees never perish. I always protect the devotees. Then people ask, then devotees will not die. Because Krishna told, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. So Krishna protects. How he protects? He protects his devotees by uplifting his Krishna consciousness. He helps the devotees to become fully Krishna conscious. And after the devotee becomes fully Krishna conscious, Prabhupada writes in the purport that he protects his pure devotional service. That is the protection of Krishna. So Krishna protects us by uplifting our Krishna consciousness so that we can remember Krishna all the time. What is the danger in our life? When we don't remember Krishna. Lack of Krishna consciousness is danger. Kunti Devi is praying to the Supreme Lord, please give those dangerous situations in my life again and again. People may think that what kind of prayer is this? But this is very, very intelligent and very Krishna conscious prayer. You have to understand the context why Kunti Devi is praying like that. When Kunti Devi and her sons are in a very comfortable situation, that time Krishna is telling, I am going. So then Kunti Devi started thinking, wait a minute. That is the real danger, that you will not be here. So we are having nice time. So-called dangerous situation in our life. That time, Krishna was always there with us. That's why Kunti Devi prayed like that. That so-called dangerous situation is not dangerous in this world. What is the dangerous situation? When we forget Krishna. Forgetfulness of Krishna is the real danger. Because if we forget Krishna, then we'll come back again. And if we remember Krishna, we will not come back, we'll go back. So we have to decide whether you have to come back or whether you have to go back. When you forget, come back. But we like to come back, right? Come back home, not go back home. So when we forget Krishna, we come back. Our journey continues in this material world. But when we remember Krishna, then we go back to the spiritual world. Antakale cha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram jaya prayati samad bhavam jatinas tatra asangsaya. So in this world, we are in anxiety. We are in anxiety. And what is the cause of anxiety? We are not confident about the protection of Krishna. Lack of surrender, lack of Krishna consciousness. Anxiety comes when mind is not thinking of Krishna. And Prabhupada said the easiest way, the only way to remain Krishna conscious is to chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This statement is very simple. I was just reading today. Prabhupada is writing in the purport that we can be feeling that experience of protection of Krishna when you chant the holy name of the Lord. So chanting of the holy name is very, very powerful. Krishna spoke that and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu practically exhibited that. So Prahlad Maharaj, just now we celebrated Nrsimha Chaturdashi. So Prahlad Maharaj was completely protected. And what a dangerous situation he was in. You cannot think of more dangerous situation than the situation of Prahlad Maharaj. Right? But in that situation also he was in complete bliss. No anxiety, nothing. Why? Where from he was getting the strength? He was remembering Krishna. 24 hours a day. That is a symptom of fully Krishna conscious person. And you may think, oh, that happened in Satyayuga. Whether it is possible now is very too much for us to do. So Mahaprabhu is telling, no, this is possible now. What Prahlad Maharaj did in Satyayuga, that is possible in Kali Yuga also. Example, to establish the powerful shelter of the holy name, Mahaprabhu is putting his Namacharya is in the most difficult situation. That's why Krishna puts his devotee in difficult situation to teach the whole world how, if you take shelter of Krishna, how you are always protected. That is the principle Mahaprabhu's teaching. So Haridas Thakur was called by Kazi. He said, Haridas, I'll forgive you. All your offenses will be forgiven. You just have to stop chanting the holy name of the Lord. That's it. Then Haridas Thakur, what he said? He said, what to talk about stopping the chanting? I cannot remain alive for a moment without chanting of the holy name of the Lord. He said, if you don't give up chanting, then you have to give up your life. You will be beaten up in 22 marketplaces and you will be killed. And what was the response? You become very scared. Now I will be killed. He was same fearless. He said, Khando khando hai deho jai jodi pran tabuna badana na chari harina. He said, even my body is cut into pieces. Each piece of my body will keep on chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then what happened to Haridas Thakur? Mahaprabhu is explaining that to Haridas Thakur. In Sriva Sangan, Mahaprabhu said, Haridas, you remember when Kazi's people are beating you, I sent my Sudarshan Chakra. So those who chant the holy name constantly, protection is given by Sudarshan Chakra. We have to be very, very careful. And we have seen that happen. It happened to who? Durvasa Muni. When Durvasa Muni offended Ambarish Maharaj, immediately who got into action? Sudarshan Chakra. Immediate action. It's not story. This is the reality. But we have to come to the level of Ambarish Maharaj. We have to come to the level of Haridas Thakur. Complete dependence on the holy name. Complete dependence on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Mahaprabhu said that I sent Sudarshan Chakra to kill all of them. But Sudarshan Chakra came back without killing them, and I was asking Sudarshan Chakra that I ordered you to kill all of them, but you did not obey my order. What kind of servant are you? Then Sudarshan said, I followed your order, my dear Lord. He said, how come? I told you to kill them, but you came back without killing them. What kind of obedience is this? He said, my dear Lord, you declared that your devotee is greater than you. Right or wrong? How you can deny? Yes. Then you are telling to kill them, but your pure devotee Haridas is telling to forgive them. What can I do? So Mahaprabhu said that my Sudarshan Chakra could not do anything, then what can I do? He said, I had to come personally and sat on your back and took the beatings on my back. Do you believe, Haridas? I did that. Then Mahaprabhu took out his chadar and there was the red mark in the back of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the protection given by the Lord directly. There is a doubt. Birbal was asked by Akbar, why your Lord has to give protection directly? He has so many people, so many agents, they can take care. Why he has to personally take care of his devotees? I don't understand. So Birbal said, okay, I will make you understand. So one day, Birbal called Akbar, please come, please come. So then he brought him in the garden and he saw that his son is there in the boat, in a pond, and he saw that that boy was drowning in the water. As soon as he saw that, he immediately jumped into the water. And he realized that was a doll. He became very upset. And he asked the minister, why you did that to me? Then he said that you have so many security guards. Why you jumped into the water to protect? Said, how can I rely on the security guards? He's my son. That's why I jumped into the water. So then Birbal said, that's why you jumped into the water. In spite of having so many assistants you have. In the same way, the Lord treats his devotees like his own son. That's why he protects his devotee by himself. That is the position of the pure devotee. So therefore, that level of confidence comes when we completely surrender. It's not an artificial thing that we can experience that. We will only experience that presence of Krishna, presence of Krishna's protection when we are completely surrendered. That's why bhakti means surrender, saranagati. And one of the symptoms of saranagati is avasya rakshiva Krishna. Krishna will definitely protect me in every situation. So it happened in Kali Yuga, it happened in Satya Yuga. It also happened in Dapur Yuga. Every Yuga it happens. Parikshit Maharaj, Pandavas, see their life. Pandavas are in extreme danger. But they are fearless, completely fearless. Bhishma Pitama took a vow that tomorrow they will be killed. But they are not bothered about that. Because they knew whether we will be killed or we will be alive, it is all due to the protection of Krishna. Rakho bhi, maro bhi, jo ichha tuara. Even if I die, it's glorious. Even if I am alive, it's glorious. Because my service will continue. Prabhupada was in Mayapur, he said, living in Dham, dying in Dham is the same. When you live in Mayapur, you are in Vaikuntha. When you die in Mayapur, you will go back to Vaikuntha. So for a devotee, when he is alive, he is rendering pure devotional service. And when he will be dead, he will be rendering pure devotional service in the spiritual world. So there is no change. For devotee, whether he is alive in this body or dead, doesn't matter. But for that, we have to come to that platform of pure devotional service. Then that kind of realization will come. And that kind of conviction will become, or will be there in our life. And that is the lesson we are learning from the sacred teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Akrura is telling the intelligent person always will take shelter of Krishna. Because ultimately Krishna can give protection. Nobody else can give protection. Because he is the protector. He is the maintainer. So that kind of realization we have to gradually develop in our life. And more we have that kind of consciousness, more we can experience the presence of Krishna in our life. Parikshit Maharaj experienced that. When he was cursed by that Brahmana boy Sringi, instead of accusing the Lord, Parikshit Maharaj was so grateful. Because one of the quality mentioned is grateful. The attitude of gratefulness will be checked when we are in difficult situation. We can give some philosophical talk, we should be grateful, but when difficulty comes, that will be the time of test. So when Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to die, that he will be cursed by snake bite within 7 days, he said, it's not a glorious death externally, but it's a super glorious death. Because through that curse, Srimad Bhagavatam will be revealed. That's why super glorious. But who could see that? Parikshit Maharaj could see that. Parikshit Maharaj said, my dear Lord, you are so merciful. You have appeared before me. Dijo sapa rupam. You have appeared in front of me in the form of the curse of the Brahmana boy. He never saw the curse. He saw Krishna in that curse. So that is the position of a pure devotee. When Hiranyakasipu asked Prahlad, you are talking about God, Vishnu. Where is Vishnu? Is there Vishnu in the pillar? So if the same question asked to us, we said, yes, it is in the pillar. Because we have heard from Brahma Samhita, Andantarastha Paramanuchayantarastha. But Prahlad Maharaj is telling on that platform, no. He saw Nrsingadev in the pillar. He did not see the pillar. Prahlad Maharaj saw Nrsingadev in the pillar. That's why he said, yes, he is there. And in order to prove that Prahlad saw him and his words are true, he also came out from the pillar. So that is the level of your devotional service. And he always keeps his words. Example is given, Bhishma Pitama, when his vow that he will kill the Pandavas, that was not fulfilled by the intervention of Krishna, right? There are two stories. One story that Pandavas went and took back the 5 arrows from Duryodhana, because Duryodhana kept those 5 arrows. And another story is there that Krishna took Draupadi to Bhishma Pitama and asked for blessings, and Bhishma Pitama said, so Bhagavati Baba. In that way, Krishna took care of the problem. But the vow of Bhishma Pitama was not fulfilled. So Bhishma Pitama thought, I'll also take revenge. Then he was fighting like anything against Arjuna. And Arjuna was almost to be killed. Then Krishna broke his own promise and he took the wheel and started fighting running towards Bhishma Pitama. In that way, he showed that he never fails in protecting his devotees. That's why he's Achyuta. That's why Krishna has only one principle. Krishna pleases his devotees. Krishna protects his devotees. That is the only principle Krishna has. And for that, he can break any principle. He does not care. Because for him, only one principle, protecting his devotees, pleasing his devotees. That is the platform of Krishna in dealing with his devotees. So that subject is explained in this verse. And grateful heart is very, very important. It is also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. When someone is in difficulty and when he happily accepts that difficulty with grateful heart, he is the eligible person to enter into the spiritual world. That is the price. When we are in difficult situation, without our wrong action, sometimes if we do wrong, we are in difficult situation. So it is said, a devotee is put into difficult situation for 2 reasons, primarily. One, because of Vaishnava Aparad, and second, the desire of the Lord. So sadhakas are also put in difficulties because of the offenses. The Siddha is also put into difficulty because of the desire of the Supreme Lord. So we will be all in difficult situation only, because this is the world of difficult situation. Padam padam jad vipadam. At every step there is difficulty. But that difficult situation can be easily overcome when we become Krishna conscious. We have to remember Krishna. Rupa Goswami has taught us, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. That is the principle. And that is the essence of all rules and regulations. Whether we are advancing on Krishna consciousness or not, that is the parameter. How many hours a day we are remembering Krishna? And Prabhupada said, perfection of Krishna consciousness is when we can remember Krishna 24 hours a day. So somebody asked Prabhupada, how to become Krishna conscious when we are sleeping? Prabhupada said, first become Krishna conscious when you are awake. Then you can be Krishna conscious when you are not awake, sleeping. Whatever we do at the awakened state, that will happen in the sleeping stage. Somebody asked Krishna, why you are so not attached, you are so affectionate to Arjuna? He said, I will tell you. One day he took him, and in a room, Arjuna was there. Arjuna was sleeping. Even Arjuna was sleeping, sound was coming, sound vibration. Govinda, Krishna, Madhava, all different names of Krishna is coming out from the breathing of Arjuna. That's why Prabhupada said, a pure devotee never sleeps. Whenever he takes rest also, that time also he is Krishna conscious. Why? Because during the daytime when he is awakened, he is also Krishna conscious. So we should focus on our life, that we should always try to remain Krishna conscious by always engaged in his devotional service. And the best way, most effective way to become Krishna conscious is to chant the holy name and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what Prabhupada also written in his purport. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So you have a few more minutes if you have some question or comment.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, as you said that the Siddhas and Sadhakas both are put under difficult situation because of different reasons. So Siddha knows how to deal with it. As you said that Haridas Thakur and Ambarish Maharaj, they took complete shelter of the holy name. Now as a sadhaka, I don't have that complete faith in holy name. So I cannot take complete shelter. So what else practically I can do as I am progressing in my Krishna consciousness by taking gradual shelter of holy name? And what else can I do to deal with those difficult situations? Shall I just tolerate, accepting as whatever happens is let it go? Or should I take some practical measures to deal with the situation?
The shelter is an internal process. Siddha is having the complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why they are Siddhas. Sadhaka does not have complete faith in the protection of the Lord. That's why they are sadhakas. But they are practicing it. So it is said that complete surrender happens at the level of ruchi, asakti, that level. So that at that level, surrender is complete. So until we achieve that level, we have to progress gradually. Ado Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nibriti. And how we can purify our heart, how we can be undergoing the process of Anartha Nibriti, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha and Bhajana Kriya. If we have this combination, then Anartha Nibriti is very fast. But if in that process if we commit Vaishnava Aparad, Anartha Nibriti will not happen. Opposite will happen. Anartha will increase. That's why as a sadhaka, we have to be very, very careful to avoid Vaishnava Aparad. Because it's the greatest obstacle on our path. Because Vaishnava Aparad will attract Anartha. So, when we are having difficult situation, so as a sadhaka, we can have difficult situation due to our karma, due to our offenses. So different reasons are there. So you have to be in difficult situation. So how to deal with that? That depends on our consciousness. So when you are a sadhaka, we have to learn from this that it's happening because of our karma and offenses. Even Haridas Thakur, I heard, I don't know the source, while he was in difficulty, he was thinking, I am in this situation because I heard some Vaishnava Aparad. He was thinking like that. So Prabhupada also expressed that kind of mood. When something wrong happens, the sadhaka or siddha, siddha definitely will think that this is because of my karma. But sadhaka also should sincerely think is because of my karma. Then become humble and take shelter of the Lord. So then Krishna's protection becomes very obvious in our life. So that kind of faith and confidence has to be developed, but it's a process, but it will happen by good association, good sadhana, and avoiding Vaishnava Parad.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much, very enlightened class. I have two questions. First is, you have mentioned in your class that envy generates because of pride, and pride is generated because of ignorance. That we have no knowing about ourselves, matter and spirit and the Supreme Lord. But after coming in Krishna consciousness, knowing the philosophy in that we are not this body, Zero Swarup Hole Nitya Krishna Das, okay, and we practicing Krishna consciousness, but still and we are not free from the envy. So what is the reason behind that?
One thing is knowing, other thing is believing. Many people know that cigarette smoking is injurious to health, but they don't stop smoking. But they know. So in the same way, you know, from the very first day of our Krishna consciousness, we know we are this body, we are the servant of Krishna, but we don't believe that. Only knowing is not enough, we have to believe that.
Lack of faith.
Huh?
Lack of faith or...
Lack of faith. That's only knowing. I know Bhagavad Gita, I know all the verses, but what kind of faith you have? That will determine the result. Okay.
Okay, Maharaj. Second question is, you mentioned that devotees put difficulties because of two reasons. Okay, one is Vaishnava...
Not exclusive, but these are two primary reasons.
One is offense and other is Lord desire. So I just wanted to know that Jay and Vijay, they also put in difficulties. So what the reason? They are
coming, they are Nitya Siddhas, they are coming from spiritual world. This not compare with us. Jai Vijay came to please the Lord, to become a character in his pastime.
So it's a lost desire?
Obviously. That's his...
So they didn't commit offense against Chatuskumar?
Huh?
They didn't commit against Chatuskumar?
That is external reason, no? When you are, just like when Krishna performs his pastime, he also manages the world also in such a way that people will not understand. So there are external reason, internal reason. External reason, obviously offending Chatuskumar. But internal reason is that it was the desire of the Lord. Just like Arjuna was in bewilderment, it's because of what? He is in Maya? No. Krishna has put him in Maya. That's Krishna's desire. And that happens only to the Nitya Siddhas, those who are Mahabhagavas, pure devotees. But sadhakas, the external reason is the main reason. We should not think it is desire of the Lord. I am in difficulty because it is the desire of the Lord, because I am a Siddha. That is also ignorance. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much Maharaj for wonderful class. Very nicely you have described the many qualities of Krishna, many pastimes. You were mentioning about Maharaj surrender, how we have to take shelter of Lord, and Lord will start reciprocating if we completely surrender into Him. When I see myself, I have joined ashram, I may feel that I am completely surrendered. So what parameters I should check that my surrender is increasing or it is completely surrendered, Maharaj?
So when you achieve the level of asakti, that is a symptom that you are fully surrendered. Oi nanda tanuja kinkarang patitang bang visame babam budau kripaya tava pada pankajasya dhuli sadrisang vichintaya. When you achieve that level, that is a symptom of full surrender. It's not our feeling or his feeling. It's all science. It does not depend on our feeling. I may feel so many things, but what's happening actually in life? That is the symptom. Asakti is the symptom of full surrender. Okay?
Hare Krishna. One may feel I have asakti.
You cannot feel. There are symptoms of asakti. What is the symptom of asakti? I already explained. What is the symptom of ruchi? Na dhanang, na janang, na sundaring, kavitang va jagadisha kamaya. Mama janmani janmaneshwara bhavatad bhakti rahaitu kitagi. That is the symptom of ruchi. Before that is nishtha. Trinadapi sunichana tararapi sahishtuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That is nishtha. If you have all this, then whether you feel, don't feel, you are at that level. Okay? It's not only your feeling. The symptoms.
Hare Krishna Maharaj Ji, please accept my humble obeisances Maharaj Ji. Maharaj Ji, as you stated that this world is full of enviousness. So Maharaj Ji, it is, in Prabhupada's books it is mentioned that the some qualities of anger of Krishna, which is on transcendental level. So we have that some kind of qualities in this material world, but it is actually in material base. Anger is not a favorable, but in spiritual world it is like that, it is transcendental level. So what in case of envious? Is Krishna have that envious propensity in spiritual world? That's why here this world is full of envious.
Somewhere Prabhupada said that envy is not there in the spiritual world, but in some cases he said there is transcendental envy also. Chandravali and Radharani's group, they are envious of each other. That is transcendental envy. But Prabhupada said, out of 6 anarthas, envy cannot be engaged in devotional service. As a sadhaka, we cannot engage envy in Krishna's service. But Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mad, these 5, we can engage in Krishna's service. We can dovetail that in Krishna consciousness. But envy cannot be dovetailed. Envy has to be given up. Okay?
Yes, got it Maharaj. Thank you very much Maharaj Ji.
Very good. So we'll end here, or last question maybe? Send the mic back.
हरे कृष्णा महाराज जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। महाराज जी, अभी आप बता रहे थे कि भगवान भक्तों की सुरक्षा करते हैं, उनको भय रहित करते हैं। तो बहुत लोग प्रश्न पूछते हैं कि इतना सुरक्षा करते तो जब भी हमारे मंदिर टूट जाते हैं, भगवान के मंदिर टूट जाते हैं, विग्रह नष्ट कर दिए जाते हैं, तो वो समय अपनी सुरक्षा वो क्यों नहीं करते? हरे कृष्णा।
तो हम लोग इसलिए मैंने बताया सुरक्षा का मतलब नहीं बाहरी दृष्टि से। प्रहलाद क्या है, परीक्षित महाराज, उनका तो मृत्यु हो गया, कैसे सुरक्षा हुआ? सुरक्षा का मतलब भक्ति का सुरक्षा होता है। इसलिए मैंने पहले ही बताया, सुरक्षा का मतलब भगवान भक्त को ये सहायता करते और पूर्ण रूप से कृष्ण भावनान्वित बने, और उसके बाद उसका कृष्ण भावनान्वित सुरक्षित रहे, वो चीज़ भगवान करते हैं। इसका मतलब नहीं इस दुनिया का जो नियम वो नहीं चलेगा, वो तो चलते रहेगा।
थैंक यू महाराज।
भक्त भी शरीर छोड़ेगा, ऐसा नहीं भक्त शरीर नहीं छोड़ेगा। भक्ता माम भी जानाती, ऐसा नहीं है। आपको जानना चाहिए सुरक्षा का मतलब भक्ति का सुरक्षा देते हैं भगवान, और हमारा भक्ति के सुरक्षा लिए जो जरूरत है वो करते हैं। हो गया ना? बस और कुछ है अभी भी? ओके, क्विक, टाइम इज माइक।
हरे कृष्ण महाराज, जैसे हम टेंपल में पहली बार आते हैं तो हमारा भाव अलग रहता है, पर वो भाव मेंटेन करना मुश्किल हो जाता है, तो उस भाव को मेंटेन कैसे करा जाए?
भाव को मेंटेन करने के लिए जो भाव में है उनके साथ रहना चाहिए।
नहीं मतलब फिर भी कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि
कभी कभी होता है ना,
हाँ।
तो बाकी समय तो ठीक रहता है। क्यों ठीक रहते हैं? अच्छे संग में रहते हैं, तो अच्छे संग में रहो तो भाव ठीक रहेगा।
थैंक यू महाराज।
और जब अनर्थ रहता है तब डिफरेंट लेवल्स ऑफ भक्ति हम लोग एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं। तो जब हम लोग आते हैं उसको कहते हैं उत्साहमयी भक्ति। नया नया चीज़ में उत्साह ज़्यादा रहता है, उसके बाद थोड़ा कम हो जाता है। ऐसे बहुत सारे लेवल है, 6 लेवल्स ऑफ अनिष्ठिता भक्ति। जब तक अनर्थ रहेगा तब तक भक्ति स्टेडी नहीं होगा। तो जब अनर्थ से हम लोग मुक्त हो जाएंगे तब हमारा भक्ति स्टेडी हो जाएगा। ठीक है, ये चलता रहेगा ऐसे वेव जैसा। बहुत उत्साह, 64 माला कर लेंगे, उसके बाद 2 माला, ऐसा होता है, चलता है।
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. So you are mentioning about external reason and internal reason very nicely. You are mentioning that we should not think that I am a siddha, so I have to not try. I have to try.
You can think, but if you are not, then you will not be.
Yeah, so
You may think so many things.
Yeah, so I have to try my level best. In fact, we hear the history of Hare Krishna temple also, how Prabhupada encouraged devotees, till the last moment, that we should get it back. So Prabhupada was very determined. Although many devotees felt, Giriraj Maharaj, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, that we should give it up because so much struggles is happening. So this internal reason has to be seen actually, otherwise we cannot be stable in our practice of Krishna consciousness. But then at the same time, as we were mentioning nicely, the external reasons also, sometimes we may made a mistake or we are not so determined. So it's a check for a determination also. Not just every time it's an internal reason. So Lord tests us how much we are determined to fight against that struggle. So in our practice, how to really strike that balance that I need to really see external reason and not just become a lazy fellow trying to take shelter of the internal reason. At the same time,
But by becoming lazy, you cannot take shelter. Shelter doesn't mean you have become lazy. Taking shelter is a consciousness, it's not an inactivity. Oh, shelter. Now I am under full shelter. I don't have to do anything. That is another misunderstanding of shelter. Arjuna took the shelter of Krishna and fought the greatest battle in his life. That is called shelter. When you do for Krishna 100%, that is called complete shelter. When you do for yourself, that is not shelter. Arjuna fought the battle of Kurukshetra as an offering of love for Krishna, and he was confident that Krishna is going to protect him. That is called shelter. Give your best and then leave the rest. That is called full protection, the confidence in full protection. इससे तो फिलोसॉफी के लिए तो नहीं होगा, बोलने से नहीं होगा, ये क्लास देने से नहीं होगा। जब तक वो कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं आएगा उस लेवल पे, ये कॉन्फिडेंस तो नहीं आएगा, डाउट रहेगा, डाउटफुल माइंड रहेगा। When someone is fully surrendered, he will be free from doubt. ठीक है? It's a gradual process. As a sadhaka, we have to gradually go up, 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 and when you come to the level of asakti, then we have full confidence that yes, Krishna is our protector. ठीक है? But it's not an external inactivity. Shelter doesn't mean external inactivity. You become most active when you are most surrendered. If you are inactive means we are at the platform of laziness. That is also one of the symptoms of anusthita bhakti. We become lazy in Krishna consciousness.
So how to understand that this is not my passion, but actually I am wanting to be very active for Krishna. Sometimes out of passion we try so much. Ati prayas.
It's very difficult to understand. Very easy to understand. Why you are doing it, not what you are doing. When you do it for Krishna's pleasure, that is love. And when you do it for your own, कुछ कर रहा हूँ मैं, दिखाऊंगा, तो passion. And when you do it for Krishna's pleasure, transcendental passion. Simple, na? Very difficult to understand or what? What is the motivation? Atmendriya priti vancha tare bole kam, Krishnendriya priti ichcha dhare prema naam. When you do it for yourself, that is called passion. And when you do it for the pleasure of the Lord, that is love. It's the intention, which is internal, which is not visible. External is visible, but by external activity you will not understand. Internally what's going on inside. That will determine our consciousness. That is the quality of devotional service. That's why we say it's not important what we do, most important is why we do. So when why you do is very pure, that is pure Krishna consciousness. Okay? Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि।